Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and football. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Boogie down, Wildcats are the best in town.
That's really good. You could
Thank
be
you.
one
I
of
was
those
practicing.
cheerleaders.
I was practicing. They're my favorite.
They are some of the best. We're going to talk about that because I think they're some of the best cheerleaders in a football movie. For sure.
I agree.
Yes. We are dorking out about 1986's Wildcats in honor of football season, which I think football is still happening, right?
It is.
Yeah, see, I'm not really into football. Baseball's my thing, but I do like football movies and documentaries about football. So there you go. Weird. I can't explain it. It's directed by Michael Ritchie. He also did The Bad News Bears and Fletch and Diggstown, which it has James Woods in it, and he's such a fucking creep. But Diggstown is a really good movie. Have you seen Diggstown?
I haven't seen that one. Never. No.
It's really, really good. I fucking hate James Woods. He's a piece of shit. But it also has Louis Gossett Jr. and Bruce Dern and Oliver Platt and Heather Graham, and it's really, really good. So if you haven't seen Diggstown, everybody, you should see Diggstown. But we're talking about Wildcats. It's written by Ezra Sachs, and it stars Goldie Hawn at, like, I don't know, she's like her Goldie Hawniest in this movie, don't you think? And it's also got
absolutely
Swoozie Kurtz, who was born to play Goldie Hawn's sister, and Jan Hooks. I love Jan Hooks. I know. I was happy to see her. Nipsey Russell. Nipsey
Russell.
He's actually really funny in this. To me,
I always think he's funny.
Yeah, Nipsey Russell to me is like, like the Match Game, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, he always had a poem.
Yeah, he was like a 70s game show guy to me.
Yeah.
But when he shows up in things, I think he's quite funny.
He's a good actor.
Yep. And then we got very young Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson. I don't know. You know I'm going to mispronounce it. The guy.
Michael T. Williamson.
Yes. Thank you.
And Robin Lively.
Yes.
Of course, did Teen Witch.
Yes. And there's an actor named James Keach who I recognize but couldn't quite place and honestly didn't do the research, that plays her ex-husband. He's a fucking asshole in this movie, but that's a whole other thing. Did you see Wildcats in the theater?
I saw it. I was visiting a friend in Tampa, Florida, and they had a movie theater where it was the first time I'd ever been to something like this, where they had like couches and you could kind of hang out and order food and burgers and stuff. I'd never heard of this before. And my friend and I, we went, and they didn't card us, so we got beer and we got.
That's amazing.
It was like beer and pizza or something on a couch, and I watched this movie. Like, so I have nothing but love for this movie because I had such a good time remembering it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you haven't seen Wildcats, Goldie Hawn plays. She is a coach of women's track in high school, but she grew up playing football, like really obsessed with football. Her dad was like a really popular football coach, so she wants to coach football, and she gets a job as a high school football coach at the school that nobody wants to work at because it's super bad. I guess because it's in the city. And, it has a very diverse population, let's say. But I think it's more like it's poor than anything else. I know that the movie is trying to say like, oh, it's the tough school because it's all these like Black and Hispanic kids, but I think of it more as a money issue than a race issue. But it's fine. Anyway, she gets a job coaching high school football, and of course the kids don't like her first, and they do. It's pretty predictable, but I did think it was super funny, and I remember seeing it in the theater and really liked it because everyone likes Goldie Hawn. She's adorable. Everybody drink. We all love Goldie Hawn, and I was afraid to revisit this because I was afraid that this was going to be like white savior syndrome, basically. But I don't think it's that at all. I
No,
think
they
that
help each other.
exactly, like she within the first minute of this movie, she's being sexually harassed.
Hmm.
Like she's putting up with everyone doubts her. Nobody thinks she can do what she's clearly born to do. She's super passionate. She has all the knowledge to coach football, but they don't think she can do it because she's a woman. She's constantly being sexually harassed. The guy's like, "You can get into my pants anytime," and talking about her ass and her boobs and all this stuff. And the kids in this school are the same. Like nobody thinks they can do anything. They have these preconceived notions and they help each other out. And I think that's awesome. It was better
Yeah.
than I thought. To be and here's the and that's coming from someone who liked it in 86, but I was worried that on this revisit I would be like, it didn't hold up for me. It held up for me. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 35 years since the movie came out. It's going to be it could be totally problematic, but I find it's just funny. I mean, I did laugh out loud several times. I think I mean, these guys that are playing football, they're in their 20s clearly. I mean,
Right.
they're not children.
I'm like, how many times have they been held back? These guys
I
are
mean,
they're
I
like
know.
grown ass men.
But she gets the team, and then she learns how to be a better person by sticking up for herself. And there's all these. She has this ex-husband, and you hear that he left them,
Yes.
and she's trying to make it on her own as a teacher, and she's just trying to hold it all together. And he is now dating Jan Hooks. Are they engaged, or they're just dating?
I I couldn't
I can't
figure it out
remember.
if they were like married or if they were engaged.
Yeah, they're serious.
Yes. She's been around
And
for a while.
right. And she's very prissy. And then the dad shows up, and the girls, they he's I think like I hated him at the time I watched it. Like he is a villain for sure, but there's a couple of times where if I walked in and my spouse had kids all over the place drinking beer and my daughter was drunk and something, I would be nervous too. I would be a little bit like, all right, what are your choices? What are you doing here? So, but in the end, he gets punched in the face and then she wins. So, so I'm okay with all of it. I mean, I think it, but I think he has a good point. He does have a point. He's not a total monster, but I think he's like late in the game trying to be a better dad
Yes.
and negating everything she's been trying to do this whole time. And the same thing, like women have to be perfect in every single way, or God forbid,
Right.
and and that kind of thing. But you have Goldie Hawn, and she's such a great dramatic actress.
Yes.
I mean, of course she's a natural comedian, and her giggle is like worth everything
Mhm.
in the world. But she's also a good dramatic actress, so she has to do everything in this movie. She has to be tough. She has to fake being tough sometimes. She's got to be maternal. She has to stand up for herself. She's in weird situations. I love it when she's giving them a pep talk. She's like, let's go kill him. And Wesley Snipes like, go, let's go out there and eat some pussy.
Yeah,
And
she's
they're
like,
all shaking
"Ugh."
up. They're like, ugh.
This movie's
It's just
so
sometimes I
weird.
crack up. Her reactions are so funny.
She is so funny in this movie and she's working hard. She's working hard for those
Hmm.
jokes, but she is and I don't mean that in a negative. Like I just mean that she's so Goldie Hawn in this movie and she looks beautiful. There is like yeah, there's constantly like pussy this and pussy that, a lot of that in this movie. There's also like a really unnecessary like naked shot of Goldie Hawn that I was like,
Yeah,
whoa,
I've
I wasn't
always been
expecting
like,
that.
they couldn't put any bubbles in that bath. Like, seriously, did she have any choice in this? I mean, yes, there's a couple of scenes like that. I mean, this is 86. It's like a hard R. It's a R-rated comedy,
Yeah,
but it could be much worse, which we've gotten in the 80s.
for sure. There's no sexual assault that I'm aware of, so that's something. Yay. She does like put up with like when she's first introduced to the team, like they're all standing there with their helmets over their junk basically and then they put their helmets on and they all expose themselves to her and I was like that's an interesting choice. And all these
Well, they're trying to show her they don't want her there.
yeah, all the high school boys exposing themselves to to their coach, but sure, it's fine. It's 80s. It's 80s. You got to let it go. Do we want to talk about Goldie Hawn's amazing hair in this movie?
Her hair game, it just looks so like sexy and
Yeah.
tousled. Like she doesn't put a lot of effort into it. She looks so great in this movie, and she's just wearing like sweats, literally wearing sweatpants
Yes.
and a t-shirt, and she looks amazing. She got pregnant that year. I think she was 40.
Really?
Yeah, I think she had Oliver. I think she had she was pregnant with one of her kids.
I did not know
Uh,
that.
yeah, and I love it. So they give her a hard time, and then the worst thing they do is they tear apart her office and they
Yeah.
break her stopwatch,
Yeah.
and that's really like when it comes to head. So she like takes them out on the field, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna start running. You start following me, and if I outlast you, you have to do everything I say. And if I can't outlast, I'm sorry, if you outlast me, I will quit." Right. And I love it. She's just running, running, running. And then finally she wins because she's ran the Boston Marathon twice. And she could do this all day. And I love it that she takes her stopwatch and throws it at them like, "Here you go, you pussies."
Yeah.
Pussy's thrown a lot around.
A lot.
Yeah.
She is so badass though. Like she's in amazing shape.
Mm-hmm.
She runs circles around those guys. I love it when she's playing racquetball against the asshole football
Bruce
coach,
McGill.
Bruce
He always
McGill.
plays an
He
asshole.
plays such a dick. He's such a good dick. Literally gets thrown in the mud at the end of the movie and pouts like a baby and like throws a temper tantrum. It's hilarious. But she kicks his ass at racquetball and she looks amazing doing it, by the way. She's wearing these like
Yeah.
amazing gym shorts that are cut just perfect to show off how awesome Goldie Hawn looks. I'm like, I don't look that good.
Supposedly Kurt Russell, the first time he saw her was in a dance class, and he just saw this butt in front of him. And he was like, "I gotta meet this person."
Duh. I love
Duh.
that. So that's why this is how she ends up getting this job. Like basically she beats this guy at racquetball and he's so humiliated, I guess. He decides to get revenge and recommends her for this job at the quote unquote tough Central High with the generic inner city high school name, Central High. And there's this really funny scene where like they're all they're going to hire the home ec teacher to be his assistant coach, or no, to be JV or whatever. And she's like, "I can do this job and you shouldn't doubt me. And I am a woman and I'm super tough and smart and blah, blah, blah." And she like leaves and then she comes back in. "I forgot my purse."
It's my favorite. That is like,
I'm like, who hasn't done that? Who hasn't tried to make a big dramatic exit? And then you're like, "I forgot my purse," or your sweater or something. And you're like, I have to come back in, ruin my dramatic exit. I still love that. And then,
I love that Nipsey Russell always has her back as the principal.
yeah,
Right.
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 They're in it together. Like,
Right.
I think he knows that like this is what he's not going to get someone else.
Right.
He knows that she's it and they're in it together. And he tells her like, if you say no to this, no one else is going to give you another shot. Like you have to do it. And I think it's said like he's trying to talk her into it, but I think he's also being honest with her. Like the chances of you getting to coach high school varsity football are pretty slim. Take it. Take this opportunity. And they're in it together. I like the Nipsey Russell character a lot.
I think he's great. When Bruce McGill tries to go into the school and he's ratting out, he says some of the students are performing at less than a C level.
Mm-hmm.
And he hands him the piece of paper, and then Nipsey Russell just kind of like, "We'll be getting computers in 2 more years."
Yeah.
And he just throws it away, and then he just looks at us like, "You are missing an ID badge. That's illegal." And he just handles him beautifully. I love Nipsey Russell in this movie.
I do too. I think he's so good. We get a couple of good training montages. That's super 80s
Show me
and
how
fun.
it works. Show me how it works.
You're waiting. You're waiting for those songs to start in the training montages.
I know this movie so well, and it's one of those things like the songs really fit what's going on. Sometimes it's kind of like on the nose that way.
Yes.
But I like it. I mean, they don't they don't pick any modern pop songs, which is, I think, a smart thing. I mean, they were modern then, excuse me, but they're not famous, popular on the
Right.
charts. Like, right.
They are super on the nose, though. You wouldn't be surprised if they were like, and you're training for the football game, and they're getting better all the time. Like,
Well, the best thing that happens is they have the school dance,
mm-hmm.
and the team is doing better. And Nipsey Russell can once again, like, is that school spirit I
Yeah.
hear? And they're giving the team gives her a new stopwatch, and I love it. She just looks at, she goes, "Love, you are pussies."
Look,
I crack up.
if hearing Goldie Hawn say the word pussy or pussies is your thing, this movie is for you. It is.
Right.
It will get you so hot.
But they have LL Cool J doing a rap.
I know.
at the
I was
school
like,
dance.
I was kind of surprised. I was like, how come LL Cool J isn't just playing one of the kids in the movie? He's young. I'm like, everyone else is a grown ass man in that movie. They could have got LL Cool J
Yeah, he
too.
would have been younger. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some rapping in the movie because it's 86, and we'll get into that, I think, later in this episode. But we need to talk about the amazing cheerleaders in this movie.
Boogie down. Your mama says you ugly. Ho! I love them. I love
They're
them.
so good. There's like 3 of them at first, and they're just out there like in a matching shirt, like with the best cheers. You know,
Yeah.
I know that at my high school we were the Ugly Eagles. That was our mascot. And so we also had the like UGLY, you ain't got no alibi, you're ugly. You're ugly. That was our thing. But I don't think we said you're ugly. I think we would say we're ugly. And I was like, yeah, we're ugly.
The Ugly Eagles?
Yeah. We were the
Wow, that's
Eagles,
better than
but
mine.
we called ourselves the Ugly Eagles, apparently.
Oh.
I didn't
okay.
pay attention to sports, but I knew it was a thing. What was yours?
The Maroons.
The
I don't know what that
Maroons?
means either. The Maroons. Like the color. In plural.
Just
I
makes
have
me think
no
of Bugs
idea.
Bunny. What a maroon.
What a maroon. I know. It was so dumb. It was because what is a maroon? Like, is that,
I
is
don't
that like
know.
a pelican or something? Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what we were.
If our cheerleaders had been like these cheerleaders, I might have been more interested in going to games or maybe even trying to join the cheerleading squad.
I think I can make that squad. I honestly do. They're not doing pyramids or anything like that.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just dancing around and having fun. I mean, I would totally be into that.
I just think they're so fun. And I'm not joking when I say like they're some of my favorite cheerleaders in the movies, like in any movie. You know, you have your Bring It Ons and your what's the other one? There was the other one where they're cheerleaders. Oh, the Not Another Teen Movie. Those cheerleaders are pretty funny too, but I think these are the best cheerleaders.
Oh, absolutely.
So after their first big game, their first game, they lose it. They lose the game, and then they steal a goat.
And how much do you want to hang out with that goat? It looks so cute.
And then she has to return the goat to the school, and she's trying to do it like quietly and like just drops it off at the school and runs away. And I wrote in my notes, not only would I steal that goat, I would keep it forever.
That goat looks so cute. And
it's so cute.
I'm totally into goats. Yeah, totally.
But I
liked her van.
Yeah, it was a good van. I like that she covers for them. It's like kind of one of those things where they're starting to show that she's got their back. So like the goat is in the locker and Nipsey Russell's like, somebody stole the goat. Has anyone seen it? And the goat's like, man. She's like, nah, we haven't seen the goat. It's like, I thought the whole scene was actually quite funny, and the goat's really cute, and I want to steal it.
It's great. It's so hilarious. And then there's the part where, so Woody Harrelson, it's his first movie.
Yeah.
And he and Wesley Snipes go on to make a few movies together. We should probably talk about like White Men Can't Jump or something.
We absolutely should. We could probably recruit Mr. Risky for that one because I think
think he would.
I think that's a fave of his. But it's such a good movie. I haven't seen him forever.
I haven't seen it since the theater, I don't
Yeah.
think.
With Rosie fucking Perez. She's the
Love
shit.
Rosie Perez.
Fucking love
But
her.
anyway, so it's the scene. So Woody Harrelson is the quarterback, but he's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so Molly McGrath finds out that there was a great quarterback the year before. Once again, these kids are held back many years. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Lavander Williams, accent on the second syllable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Michael T. Williamson in one of
Yes.
his first movie roles. And he's a kid who's a hustler. She always knows him as a hustler in the stands. He's
Yeah.
always betting on them. So she goes to his home, and I love the little boy that like kicks her foot out the door.
He's tough. He doesn't put up with any shit.
No shit. You can't get in there. No, stranger danger. No. So she goes to the place where she thinks Lavander's going to be, and a guy sells her the hubcaps that are like super sparkly on her van. And she finds Lavander at a bar, and they wind up like she's driving these guys around, and it's just sort of like they're in this. I just have to like they're in a dumpster together,
Mm-hmm.
and she's basically like, "You have to work for me, or I'm going to scream." I mean, she has to work so hard to pull this team together, but as soon as he joins the team, they start really winning games.
Yes. It all starts to fall into place. And I like that too, because when at first Woody Harrelson is the quarterback, I was like basically because
Right.
it's like the entire team is black and Hispanic, but the quarterback is white, and I was like, because the quarterback is like a de facto leader, so I was like, but then they swap him out pretty fast, and I was like, nicely done, Wildcats. Good call. And it shows that he's ultimately the biggest team player, because he's like,
Right.
I want us to win, and I'm not good. Get
I'm
someone
good
else.
at throwing, and I'm good at running, but I'm not good at throwing and running.
Yeah.
So they get him in there, and he's a slot back. He gets in there, and then Chirulo, who is this guy? His name was Nick Corey. He now goes by Shu Garcia. He was in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
He looks
he
familiar.
plays Chirulo.
Yeah.
He's a farter for one.
Yeah.
So it's got bathroom humor.
Definitely.
He bangs his head into a locker, and I love the character of Finch.
Oh my God, Finch is hilarious.
I love Finch. He's extremely smart and just a total smart ass, and is just always like throwing shade at the guys.
Yes.
And so he bets Trullo he can't bang his head into a locker without getting a concussion. And so Trullo's like, "Oh, I bet you I can," and then he does it, and he gets knocked out. So then Molly gets him to join the team, and he's a rather big guy.
Yeah.
And when they're putting the uniform on him, they said, what did they say? Like, "Oh my God, what did your parents feed you?" And Woody Harrelson says, "I think he ate his parents." I mean, he's really, really big.
He's really big. I guess he's supposed to be like their refrigerator Perry kind of character.
So this is filmed in Chicago, we should say, and it's like the year after. I think the Super Bowl was in '86 or '85, but the Super Bowl Shuffle, Refrigerator Perry, Jim. Oh, who was the goddamn quarterback? Anyway, the Bears.
The Bears.
Big deal. The Bears.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like talking about that too.
Yeah, football. I mean, football still is a really big deal, but there was like a Chicago renaissance, I guess, of football. And yeah, the Chicago Bears in the 80s were definitely a thing. Kind of like the Chicago Bulls in the 90s for basketball. In the 80s, it was the Chicago Bulls for football.
Yeah, the Bears, yeah.
And then we also get some other like mother-daughter stuff, and I like that they tend to move that one along pretty quickly, because one of the things that bothers me about movies is we get we talk about it in like The Devil Wears Prada, kind of the people. So our hero has like people in her life who then shit on her for being really good at her job and not paying attention to them 24 hours a day. And there is a scene in this movie where it's like the oldest daughter's like, "I colored my hair and you didn't tell me that you hate it, and I'm super mad at you." And I was like, oh, if they fucking drag this out, I'm going to be super annoyed. But they wrap it up really quick with like, the mom saying like we all need to pursue like what we want to do and be good at, and let's support each other, and I super love you and you're number one and all this stuff, and they just move on. And
I like that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the
And
girls
then
are there for her and she's there for
no,
them. It's good. It's solid. And Swoozie Kurtz is always around like helping out, which is totally what sisters do when one of them is like a single mom type.
yeah.
You know, you band together and you work together. I guess I found that relatable. I've lived that. Like my
Hmm.
sister and I back in the day lived together, and I helped, take care of her daughter and things like that because you're in it together.
So it's a family movie to you.
A little bit, yeah. But
Yeah.
there's more pussy in it than so
You
I
guys don't say that all the time?
you pussy, 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 pussy. Top of the show, trigger warning. We say pussy a lot.
So Robin Lively plays Alice, and she's really good. She's really
She is.
funny, and I love it that she gets too much punch at the dance. So Wesley Snipes and his girlfriend very gallantly take her home, and then they're trying to screw around the living room. But I love it that they put her into bed, like go to sleep, go to sleep. She's got a little Robert plant on her wall. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets out of bed and she calls the Jan Hooks character. It's like, hey, stick,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you. And the father, so it turns out the father keeps showing up just as like at the worst possible moment. So
Always.
he's trying to get always like Molly has the worst luck with this. So he wants the girls to go to a private school called Chatham, and he wants his ex-wife to work there and be like the phys ed instructor, the jazzercise instructor. Gloria Stewart, by the way, one of the people that of the two women that interview her.
Yeah. From Titanic, right?
From Titanic, thank
Mhm.
you. Old Rose. So old Goldie Hawn at this point had lost her voice after a game, so she could barely speak, and her husband's doing all the talking. Like, oh, Molly will be great, she'll love it, and the girls will love it here. And she calls him a motherfucker and leaves. With a very hoarse voice, like she does. So now he's really, really pissed because she's screwing up the job offer. But eventually, so there's a whole court scene, and it's really sad. I mean, the dad's like taking the daughters away from her,
Yeah.
but so she has to agree to do this, even though she loves teaching. And Wesley Snipes, they make him such an asshole in this movie.
Such an asshole.
But he's funny. I can't help it but laugh. He's so much charisma. Like he and Michael T. Williamson and Woody Harrelson are really, really funny in this movie. But she decides, no, I'm going to fight back. And that was her whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the last game and they're fucking it up, the team. And then at the halftime, she's like, what is going on? They're like, we heard you're going to quit us. And she's like, I'm not a quitter. And I love it. She goes into the football stands, confronts her ex-husband with his girlfriend or fiance, whatever, right there. And I love the crowd starts jumping in. Don't you take her Kurtz and kids away.
What's wrong with you?
And she tells them, I need to show them that I'm not a quitter, and they don't have to be a quitter. I need to see this through. And he's enough of a human being that he realizes that.
See, I don't think before that scene, I was like, he's one of those assholes that like tries to control. He's like still trying to like run her life and acting like he's still number one in her life. Like he showed up and he like barges in while she's in the tub and like sees her naked. We get the unnecessary naked shot. Gives her like the small towel to cover up, and he just keeps showing up at her house at these wrong moments, but he acts like he's still in charge. And it's like, no, dude, you forfeited your right to be in charge when you left. Like, and that's why I was so frustrated with him. And, and then like, I've decided you need to quit. And I've decided that you need to work at this place and do these things. And that shit was just driving me up the wall. But then I like that there is that's like a real thing a real moment at the end where she's like, where he's like, we will work it out.
Right.
Like, and I was like,
the way it should be.
Yeah. And I like that he is like such a stupid, typical 80s prick before that, but then it gives him like a little bit of something an actual human being would do. So I like that scene a lot too. And then he actually starts like really cheering for them. And it shows you why maybe they were married ever before. Like, because it's.
Yeah, because he seems fun there. He's having a good
Yeah.
time.
Because before that, I was like, why was she ever married to that dude? How did that happen? Now by the end, you're like, oh, I get it. Like, I could see how that happened.
He would be like the William Zabka character in 80s movies. And just like in Karate Kid, spoiler, he actually hands the trophy to Daniel.
Yeah.
And says, you're the, you know what I mean? He has that kind of a moment. And I like it when our assholes have a moment where they can redeem themselves. That is kind of nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes the movie.
Sometimes all you have to do is say sorry, really.
I'm like, wouldn't that be amazing if people, like, I think so much of what's going on in our world right now is because people are unwilling to say sorry or admit they were wrong or learn, like,
right,
if
or be sincere about it.
Exactly. If we could just admit, like, hey, like, I backed the wrong horse.
Right.
I'm not going to maybe vote for that guy again. Like, just say it. It's fine. No one will think less of you. I don't think I have to spell it out.
The Real Housewives of New York, and they had their season finale, and Ramona is really a total asshole. I'm sick of her on the show, but they did a whole montage of her, and all she says, sorry, 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 sorry. And after that, she says something super shitty and then just goes, sorry. And then she keeps going. I swear to God, it's so frustrating. You're like, you're not doing that right.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
No, I don't think you.
She means it is not sorry.
Exactly. So they have the last game, and Goldie Hawn's team is playing against Bruce McGill's team for the championship. Mm-hmm. Spoiler, they win. It's very exciting.
Yeah, the ending's not a surprise.
No.
But that's fine. You don't want it to be a surprise.
I don't want a bad news bears it. I want it to I want her to win. I want her to feel, like she's going to keep growing with the team and that kind of thing. And she sets a good example to her daughters, and she feels better about herself. So it ends on a nice, Bruce McGill, they, make him look like a shithead, which he is. And
they literally throw him in the mud.
Yeah, and he's like literally having a tantrum like a child,
like a kid.
His fist.
Yeah, like
a kid.
It's so bad.
And then it goes right into probably the best part of the movie is when they do their own football rap, which is one of my favorite endings ever. It's amazing. It's so 86.
It's so Super Bowl Shuffle. If you haven't seen the Super Bowl Shuffle, actually, I'll put a link to it in the show notes because you should watch it. There were so many spoofs of the Super Bowl Shuffle back then too, because I remember SNL had one that with like the kickers. Do you remember that? Was like, we are kickers. We kick ball. We kick the ball. We kick the ball. We are kickers. Like, it's like that's all it was. And then you have this one here from Wildcats where they're all rapping and trying to, like, they're all beatboxing and doing the like and then she's going football. And then we get that like classic Goldie Hawn giggle at the end. It's like, come on, Goldie, give us all what we paid for. Where's that giggle?
And it's worth it.
It's totally worth it.
Yeah.
And that Super Bowl Shuffle is really, their spoof or whatever it's pretty funny. I like it.
It's a good rap.
I think so. Most of those guys can rap. I think that's, except for Woody Harrelson. The rest of them good.
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, the rest of them were really good, really talented. But it's just a fun way to end the movie, and it's the perfect way to end it. So I felt the same way. I thought it was just super enjoyable. I laughed out loud a bunch of times. Yeah, it's a hard R comedy. So if you have a hard time with salty language like pussy, you may not want to watch it, or see if you can find the TV version somewhere. But I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I said, I was really afraid that it was going to be something that didn't age well, but I actually like that the team and her are helping each other out. And some of the shit she's putting up with, that stuff just hasn't gone away. Like, we're all still putting up with so much of that kind of stuff that I think it stands the test of time. It's super
Yeah.
relatable in that way. Um, yeah, it was fun. This was a good pick. Do you do you like football movies? Like, are they when you
I
see?
love football
Yeah.
movies.
So when they come out in the theater, you're like, I'm totally gonna see that.
I see them
Usually,
multiple times. Yeah. I like sports movies
I
in
think
general,
yeah.
even if I'm not into the sport. I totally like sports. I appreciate like actors and then trying to do something physical at the same time and make
Mm-hmm.
it look, and football's a really exciting game. I mean, it's a dangerous game, and I've had my
Yeah.
problems over the last 10 years ago, 10 years or so, excuse me, like with all of the things we're learning now
Mm-hmm.
about the concussions and the brain injuries and what that does to them, to the players. Of course, I think about that, and I think about the kneeling, taking a kneel,
Yeah.
and is that and the political parts of it, and I just like, but it's an exciting game. Like there's always something going on. It's not boring.
That's true. Basketball's like that too. There's always shit going on. It's
And
so
hockey.
fast. Yeah. Which is probably why I like baseball because it's not that. it's
Yeah.
it's super slow. I have time to ponder every little thing that's going on. Maybe that's why I like it. Do you have a very favorite football movie, or is this it?
Oh, it might be Wildcats.
Yeah, I could
I
totally
can't
see
think
that.
of. Yeah, there's one with Timothy Hutton and Dennis Quaid. I can't remember
Hmm.
the name of it now, but that was a football movie. It's a weird movie, but Jessica Lange is in it too. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What movie was that? Here.
It's like Dennis Quaid. It's like takes place over a period of time, like decades. And Timothy Hutton is like his young friend. And
Everybody's All
Dennis,
American.
yes, thank you. Yeah, he ages in the movie.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's a good football movie too. I liked it too. I mean, I don't know if it's aged well or not. I used to really like that one, but
I remember that one. Gosh, I haven't seen that one since the theater either.
yeah,
I
and semi tough.
I really liked the Friday Night Lights movie actually back in
Oh,
I
that
thought
that was good too.
I really liked that, and then I was a huge fan of the show. Loved the show. Watched it every week. It made me cry like on a weekly basis. It
Yeah,
God, that show is so good.
it was so good.
Yeah, I like football movies too. I haven't seen in a long time. Would like to revisit what's the one with Keanu Reeves? Is it called The Replacements?
Oh, yeah. What is that called?
And it's a football movie. And I remember at the time liking it, but I haven't seen it since the theater. And I wonder if I would like it even more now because like everybody, I'm like super in love with Keanu Reeves.
Point Break. That could be called a football movie. Johnny Utah.
Yeah, let's say it is. Yeah, The Replacements, that's what it was, and that came out in 2000. I remember liking that one a lot too. Any Given Sunday, that one was
That's good.
I'm like that one was pretty good. And now I'm just looking up football movies. Let's see what else. Do 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 do. Oh, you love Remember the Titans, isn't that football?
Oh my God, you're right. You're so right. I love Remember the Titans.
It's like that's your jam.
That's my jam. That
Mhm.
movie is my jam.
The
We are the Titans, the mighty, mighty Titans.
I love how much you love Remember the Titans.
It doesn't always translate to other
Yeah.
people. I get it.
If Adam Risky was here, he would say Draft Day. I
Yes, he loves Draft Day.
Draft Day's like his favorite. And then what else have we got here? I'm just looking at a couple other ones. There's one here called Invincible, The Longest Yard,
Oh yeah,
Oh Varsity Blues.
that's a shit movie. That's okay. That's a bad football movie.
We should
I despise that movie.
Oh my all I remember from that is there's like a whipped cream bikini. I remember that.
Allie Lar.
It,
No, Allie Larder.
yeah. And then there's the like scene that they used in all the previews with like James Vanderbeek and he goes, I don't want your life.
Brian Robbins is the director, and he's
I remember him.
he was in Head of the Class. He
Yes.
ran Nickelodeon, all that. He was like he did all he that show, all that. That was his, and he's directed a few movies. And there's one. Is it Norbit, the one with Eddie Murphy?
Oh, so bad.
There's Oh, it's such a bad movie. And there's a story from Paul Scheer where he was on that movie and then he showed up and they gave him a shitty part. Like he was supposed to play one thing and they totally changed it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the director's Brian Robbins and he says like he was the meanest,
That
dumbest
is
director
so
he's ever worked
disappointing.
with. Yeah. Yeah, just like total like he was screaming at somebody, "Come on, be more gay. I need more gay." Yeah. So, yeah, he doesn't have a gentle touch when
Mm,
he's doing things. And so Varsity Blues is totally that. Like every scene is like not just a strip club, a strip club, like
yeah.
extreme strip club, extreme everything. So maybe we should see it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we should put it on the list.
Maybe.
Two more I see that got pulled up here. Johnny Be Good with Anthony Michael
Oh,
Hall. I'm
yeah,
like,
and Uma Thurman.
yeah, and Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Not
like,
good.
I don't recall liking that one at all. And
Yeah,
then this one I haven't seen in a long time, but I bet it's pretty good. All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise
that's a
and
great movie.
and Leah Thompson.
And his peen.
That's right.
You see his peen.
I,
This
it,
is pre-Scientology, Tom
that's
Cruise.
true. I did write down some other movies that came out in February '86. Would you like to hear them?
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
this movie came out on Valentine's Day in 1986 because it's so romantic. Wildcats. So these movies also came out in February 1986. Anne of Green Gables, which
Oh, okay.
people love. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I don't think I have either.
Okay, I know I saw this one 9.5 weeks.
Oh my God.
It's not
That's
good.
Kim
Kim Basinger.
Passenger. Thank you. Sorry. She had sexy hair in that movie.
Mm-hmm. That's the best part.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only good part.
Who was was it Mickey Rourke?
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Mm-hmm. Also 86 Quicksilver. That's the
Oh,
Kevin
Kevin
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon on a bicycle. He's a
Yeah.
messenger in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that's Roger Daltrey did the song. I am lightning. I'm not kidding.
I
That's
haven't
the song.
I haven't seen that one since the theater. But
That might be worth watching.
I wonder if I would like it now. I don't
Or
know.
it could be just dumb.
It's probably quite dumb. We mentioned this movie a couple weeks ago, FX, with Brian
I
Brown.
love FX.
Yeah, and Brian Dennehy. Kung Fu the movie.
I don't know that one.
I think it's based on the TV show. I didn't see it. Delta Force, that's Chuck Norris. We don't like Chuck Norris. Fuck off, Chuck Norris. Hannah and Her Sisters.
I like Hannah and Her Sisters. I know Woody Allen's a creep, but I love that movie.
It's a good movie, but he's a piece of shit. The Hitcher.
Yeah. God, that movie's disgusting.
Ooh, maybe I should watch it.
No, it's well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. But pretty fucking bad.
Okay, good to know. House, which was kind of a horror comedy with William Catt. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. William Catt.
I remember liking the movie House.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Yeah.
And then
if memory serves.
Yeah. Pretty in Pink.
We talked about Pretty in Pink.
Mm-hmm. Go back to our past episode. We have thoughts and feelings about Pretty in Pink. And then the last one is Salvador, starring James Woods. Good movie.
And
he's a piece of shit.
We did an episode on him and What a Creep. And also Jim Belushi.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It and early Oliver Stone, like right before Platoon, was Salvador. It's a fucked up movie. It's hard to watch.
It's interesting though.
Yeah, it's hard to watch in that it's dark and sad and upsetting. And James Woods is really good in it, but
he's a great actor.
Yeah. Anyway.
He's also an asshole. Anyway. But do you want to hear some songs from 86?
Yes,
These are my favorites.
Yes, I do.
These are just a few of my favorites. I just want to give a flavor of 86. Janet Jackson, What Have You Done For Me Lately?
The song is so good. It's still good.
Fucking Control was a rad album.
I love that album.
Yeah. The Human League, Human. Such a good song.
I'm only human.
You hear that still to this day,
Yeah.
that song. Another one, Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer. I love that
It's
song.
such a good song, and the video was like
Amazing.
so good.
Stacy Q, Two of Hearts.
That song is such an
I
need you.
I need you.
Such an earworm. Such an
Yeah.
earworm, that song. It's gonna
She
be
was on Facts of Life, remember?
No. I totally
Yeah,
don't remember.
she was like last season Facts of Life, and it was when Tootie was finally becoming an actress and auditioning for things, and Stacy Q, and she got to sing her song. I think it was a big deal.
I liked
Belinda
it.
Carlisle, Mad About You, such a good song.
Such a good song. Belinda Carlisle around this time is when this like after Go-Go's solo thing, and she dyed her hair red. And that's I turned 18 and dyed my hair red because I loved her red hair so much that I was like, I want red hair. And I dyed my hair red for like forever. I just made the switch to pink like last year. Before that, it was always red. Always red. She was my hair inspiration for a little while.
Mine was Elaine on Seinfeld. I wore my hair like that. That whole like, business on top and party at the back. Like, I did that for years.
Elaine had good hair.
She had great hair.
Yeah.
Cameo, Word Up.
That song is
Such
dope.
A good song.
I love that song.
And finally, this was a really huge deal, by the way, you guys. Aerosmith and Run DMC, Walk This Way.
A huge deal. Huge.
It was a big, I remember walking around the mall with my friends, and there was a TV, electronics store, and they would play MTV.
Mm-hmm.
And that video came on, and everybody stopped. It was like a few dozen people and just watched it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my God, rap and rock together? What?
It's like chocolate and vanilla?
What?
Peanut butter and jelly?
Peanut butter is my chocolate.
So it's such a good song. I loved Rand.
Taking the sip of water. Yes,
okay.
Such a good song, and it was and they did a great job with it.
They did, and Run DMC was so fucking huge at the time, to me anyway. But
no, they were huge in the 80s, and then Aerosmith kind of like they were popular in the 70s, and they had kind of a hard time.
Yeah,
this helped bring them back.
I know. Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy to think about
their careers. Yeah,
because I was like, oh, it's the Dream On guys. That's what they were to me. Dream on, dream on. That's all they were to me. I was like, I wasn't really into Aerosmith, and then after that, they were all over MTV too. You couldn't get away from them.
Yep.
What else are you dorking out about?
I don't know if you noticed, Sonia, but on Netflix yesterday, the Great British Bake Off dropped their first episode of season 8.
Did I notice?
I mean, I said to you, I was up late. I was up till, okay, so I watched FX. They had the Jeffrey McDonald documentary.
Oh, yeah. That's on my list.
The first 3 parts. And then it was 12:30. And then I'm like, do I watch this? And for my mom, I got to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I got to watch it the day it comes out because my mom was obsessed with this show. So I watched it. It's great. It's wonderful. It's everything we need. I just loved it. Did you see it?
We are saving it for tonight, actually.
Oh, you'll love it.
I know. It's a big fucking deal in our house when the Great British Baking Show comes out with new episodes, to the point where last night I was like, I need to watch Wildcats. And I'm like, but I really want to watch the Great British Baking Show. And then my husband's like, well, I don't want to rush it. I want to enjoy the Great British Baking Show. So maybe we wait and watch it the next night. And I was like, fine. Fine, I'll wait. But
it's worth the wait.
It is. It really is. Like, it's like my favorite thing on TV whenever it shows up, because the casting is so like chef's kiss. Like they always pick really great contestants that you super like, and they're just bakers. They're not like professionals in any way. It's not like Chef's Table. Not Chef's Table. Top Chef. It's not like that. They're
Right.
just normal people, and they all have like interesting hobbies, and they're just normal people. I just love the Great British Baking Show so much. I can't
It's
wait.
great.
So I'm glad that you watched the first one and to know that it still has its magic. I am pleased. I am starting uh we started Scary Movie Month a little early here in this house. For y'all, if you don't know, F This Movie, one of our favorite movie websites and podcasts, does Scary Movie Month in October. So they just, everybody watches horror movies and then you write like 7-word reviews on their website. It's really, really fun. And I'm already ready for fall. I guess I just want it to start. So I convinced my husband to watch the movie Chopping Mall the other night. Have you seen Chopping Mall?
No.
Okay. Chopping Mall is 1986 and it stars like Kelly Maroney. You probably remember her as one of the cheerleaders from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Where they're like
Oh, yeah.
she's super cute. And then it's got like Barbara Crampton and kind of some other like 80s people that you're like, they look familiar to me. And they are teenagers because of course they are, but they are all in their 20s because of course they are. And they're like partying in like a furniture store in the mall, and the mall has started using robot security guards that look like Johnny Five from Short Circuit, basically. And
Who's Johnny? She
who's
said.
and lightning strikes because of course it does, and it like reprograms all these robots so that they're evil, and they're just like driving around the mall, and they're killing teenagers in like typical 80s fashion, and it's quite dumb, very entertaining. Like I just really like Chopping Mall. I think it's really stupid and funny, and it's super short. It's like 75 minutes long. And my husband, who's not like a horror movie guy, he's starting to figure it out that he likes 80s practical effects horror, like kind of cheesy, over the top practical effects. And Chopping Mall has that sort of thing. It's super fun. It's on Shudder if you guys like Shudder. I had also recently watched a documentary called In the Search of Darkness that was all about like 80s horror. And
Oh, right. You mentioned that last time.
yeah, and we just got like a pretty long list of movies that we want to watch off of that, and one of them was Chopping Mall. And it has some of the most obnoxious gum chewing I've ever heard in my life in that movie. Like there's a character in that movie where his defining characteristic is that he chews gum, I guess, and he chews like a fucking cow. It's like
My mother hated chewing gum. She would not let us have it in the house.
It's like
obnoxious.
It's like the actor had never chewed gum before. I was like, you know that like you don't have to chew it like that, right? It's so weird. Anyway, we were glad when that character got killed because then we didn't have to hear the gum chewing anymore. But anyway, it's super fun. I tweeted out that I had watched it, and then like Binksy and Evan, our friends from Fun Size,
Australia.
Yeah, our Fun Size Happy Hour podcast friends that RIP that podcast. I really enjoyed it. They chimed in with it was one of their faves too. So I'm not alone in my love for Chopping Mall. They are so cool. Someday I want to go to Australia and I'll get to meet them in person.
I want to recommend also something on Netflix really quick.
Yeah.
It's like American Barbecue.
Oh,
and it's based. And I know you don't eat meat, so some of that might not be awesome for you, but it's just culturally speaking, like they just go to these different barbecue places in the US, and it's just fascinating. Just like there's this one in Texas where people wait in line hours, just like, they get there like 6 a.m. to go and get their grill for the week.
Is this the Chef's Table barbecue one, or is this a different one?
I think so. I mean, I'm trying to remember now. I mean, I think they go to barbecues around the world. So it's not just in the U.S.
I think it's the Chef's Table one. I watched that one too. It's really good.
It's good. It's really good. Yeah, so I would totally recommend that if you guys are looking for something.
Yeah, I don't, like Margo said, I don't eat meat, but I like documentaries about food. I'll watch pretty much anything that Netflix recommends to me that is about food. And I watched that one too, and what I loved about it is it's not just like southern barbecue. They do go all over the world, and it's super inclusive. So it could have been like a real sausage fest basically, and they feature
No,
some
right.
women in it, which is awesome. It's really well done, and it's just beautifully shot. Those chef table ones are beautifully shot.
The one in Mexico, I think, was my favorite.
That one was
It,
so good.
oh my God, it looked delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. I can look at all that stuff and I know it's delicious. Like I'm just not going to eat it, but like I can
right.
but I could tell. You know what? I also watched My Octopus Teacher on
Should
Netflix.
I watch that?
I loved it. I super
Really?
loved it. Yeah. But I like nature documentaries too. And I will totally watch those when Netflix recommends them to me, obviously, because I watched this one and I think I don't know, do you say octopi? I think octopi
Octopi.
are fascinating. Like I think they're so cool looking. I love how and they're just so smart. They're like ridiculously smart. They're like when you go to the zoo and you see chimpanzees or gorillas and you're like they're too smart for this. This is like cruel almost to like keep them, not even almost, it is to like keep them in these cages. Octopi are like that. They're so fucking smart. And you put them in an aquarium where they're just like, like they're just sitting there.
Oh,
They're
that
so,
bums me
yeah, it's
out.
such a bummer. But in this documentary, this guy basically goes every day to the same spot and swims, and he gets to know this octopus. And
Oh,
he films all this stuff with her. And the octopus is curious about him, and he's curious about her, and they just kind of are hanging out together every day. And he gets this amazing footage of her, and he learns some stuff about octopi that you wouldn't know if she hadn't shown him, I guess. And he learns, and then it's typical stuff. It's like I learned a lot about myself, and all that.
right.
Yeah, that stuff's less interesting to me. I like the octopus part, but um I was gonna. There's a couple of things where I was like, I would make different choices than him in certain
Hmm.
situations. I would tend to intervene when maybe he didn't, and I would have. But I still think it's really, really good. I think it's worth watching.
All right. Is it
So
just one episode or?
yeah, it's just like a little. It's like a little documentary. I don't even think it's an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. I
It's
can fit that in.
yeah, it's good. I liked it. Wow, that was a lot of recommendations.
I know. We normally don't do so many. Well, we should say you're going to, next week, we're going to be replaying an episode because it's your
It's
birthday.
my birthday. I am yeah, I'm going to be off on vacation for a week. We're actually going to leave the house. It's a real treat. So, we won't be recording. We're going to re-record a new intro for our Poltergeist episode, and that will come out next week, and then we will get right into our scary movie month stuff, and it's going to be great. I love watching scary movies in October. It's the best.
It's the
Um,
best.
where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fitchick, and that's for Twitter and Instagram. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, you can also listen
Mm.
to us at What a Creep Podcast. And you can find everything you need to know about it at whatacreeppodcast.com. We talk about creeps, and then we end every episode talking about a non creep. And it's super fun. It doesn't sound like it's
Yeah.
fun, but it's actually really fun. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to email us, you can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. You could give us reviews on Apple Podcasts, and I'll be your best friend, and we'll give you a shout out on the air. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingoutshow.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter. And this was super fun. I'm so glad that we got into the football spirit and talked about Wildcats. Good
It's the
pick.
sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football.
Football.